I'm Amy Zawi with the Jerusalem Connection Red Alert Report for Wednesday, April 15. What are the hot spots? And I don't mean the corona. With all the talk about corona, and understandably so, the uptick in antisemitism has largely been ignored, even though it seems to be as effective as the COVID. As I mentioned a few weeks ago, whenever there's a hardship, often Jews get blamed. And certainly this is so for health pandemics. While we don't often talk about the Spanish flu on or about 1918 or the polio summers during the 50s, the Black Death, the Black Plague, or more scientifically, the bubonic plague, was indeed a pandemic that most folks with even a cursory education in history will recall. What we also must recall is that during this time there was a huge backlash against Jewish communities. They were called the origin of the disease, the ones who unleashed it on society. Some said it was a curse of sorts, and so on. Any excuse to espouse hate and point a finger. The reality is that the Jewish culture has a unique and very effective set of hygiene standards that includes how to keep the kitchen, how to organize food, how to wash up, etc. And because of these directives which God gave, and God doesn't impose hygiene rules on people just to make them jump through hoops, every single one of those rules had specific and real purposes to keep people healthy in a flawed and failed, disease-filled world, particularly before refrigeration, disinfectant, and the medical community's innovations. This is arguably one of the major factors in how and why Jewish communities in Europe were spared the nearly one-third death rate of the bubonic plague. My overly simplified historical overview about this history is to reveal that the Jewish customs derived from God-given rules is what kept their communities healthier than the rest. And so they were vilified for it, because they didn't suffer the death rates that the Gentiles did. Never mind that nobody said, hey, what are those guys doing over there to keep healthy while we all get sick? Oh, and tell that rat in the kitchen that we're out of breadcrumbs on the floor. No, all levity aside, the danger of finger-pointing then and now is no laughing matter, and I want to report on a few hot spots in the uptick of anti-Semitism since the coronavirus started. In today's age, we blame people back in history for their hate because they were ignorant, they had no science, etc. But what then do we blame it on today? We have science helping us track and identify diseases and issues, and many scientific theories and discussions, credible ones, are available to anyone with an internet and a browser. So let us look at some hot spots, not for the COVID-19 infections, but for the infection of anti-Semitism, of hate. Proclaiming Justice to the Nations is an organization that had a YouTube video released in early April documenting some specific incidences in the New Jersey area. One example is John S. Pizzola, the fire marshal for the community of Lakewood, New Jersey, who is a civil service employee and thus paid by the taxpayer, posted on his social media in March that Jews were, quote, trash, quote, dirty ones, and that the ultra-Orthodox community in Lakewood should be turned into a hole in the ground. Now, this Jewish community makes up about 70% of Lakewood's population. I hope none of them have to call 911 regarding an issue that needs a response from the fire department. Rabbi Avi Schnall, the director of the New Jersey office of Agudath Israel of America, has publicly stated that the City Council of Lakewood has officially requested Pizzola's dismissal. Agudath is a Jewish organization that advocates for Israel in addition to its Torah study resources and services to Jewish community members. Rabbi Schnall also noted that not only that he does not trust Pizzola's ability to faithfully deliver services to the Jewish community, and that in times of crisis throughout history, Jews are usually scapegoated, so he's not surprised. The New Jersey Governor Murphy also noted on his social media that while some specific incidences in Lakewood did violate social distancing mandates, and this has been occurring in lots of other communities as well, it is no reason to condemn the entire people. Moreover, Schnall noted that the Jewish community in Lakewood, by and large, is going beyond the required mandates in terms of enforcing within their own. As of April 9th, I cannot find any answer to the request by many to have Pizzola fired. On March 29th, an arrest was made in New Jersey of resident Anthony Laspoto. He posted overt threats on social media on March 28th that he was traveling to Lakewood with a baseball bat to assault the community members there for violating social distancing orders. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but a baseball bat is indeed less than 6 feet long. An area prosecutor released a statement that Lespato's excuse of a pandemic and public crisis to promote his hate and propagate fear is, quote, unconscionable, and he will be charged with making a terrorist threat during a time of a public emergency. In Rockland County, New Jersey, a Jewish man had an appointment to have his car serviced at a Toyota dealership. Now, the dealership was lawfully open and taking cars from patrons, and the attendant told the Jewish man that they were closed and had to leave, all while other patrons were dropping off their cars and milling about. This is all recorded on video, and the attendant simply told him that because of the social distancing, it meant he had to leave and he could not drop his car off, and that they were closed. And when the Jewish man asked why others were being serviced, the attendant just walked away. A local district attorney said that no person can be denied a service based on a bigotry and discrimination, especially during this crisis. The Times of Israel had an article just last week. Germany warns of spike of antisemitism linked to virus. One circulating conspiracy theory in Germany is that the virus is a derived bioweapon created by the Israelis. But then why on earth did it pop up in Wuhan, China, I have to ask. Felix Klein noted that in Berlin that the launch of a new government research project is looking into the issue. In recent weeks, he said, right-wing radicals have increasingly tried to leverage the coronavirus for their own ends. He also said that anti-Semitism was its own infectious virus. Anti-Semitism is already up in Germany, 20% increase in incidences between 2018 and 2019. About 12 million euros were designated for educational research for local universities during the 2021 through 2025 fiscal period in order to study and combat anti-Semitism. The coronavirus onset is in certainly no way helping this process, let alone helping us combat it in the here and now. I have to mention the art community. I cannot not mention the latest work unveiled within the Catholic community. You can read about this on multiple outlets, but the website standwithus.org has a great overview of the situation and an excellently written letter you can send to the Vatican electronically to protest. Giovanni Disparo, a prominent and popular Catholic artist who is known for his portrayal of Catholic doctrine, well, right before Passover and in the midst of the pandemic, which Italy was feeling the brunt of, he dragged up painful historical and hateful things done by or in the name of the Church. Gasparo unveiled the martyrdom of Saint Simon of Trento in accordance with the Jewish ritual murder. The painting depicts a group of Jewish men and a single Jewish woman engaged in the barbaric torture of a Christian child. The art is a typical stereotype, depicting Jews with hooked noses and sinister smiles and in the process of draining a Christian child of blood. The image is 5 by 7 feet. It references the blood libel that led to the execution of several Jews in 1475, as well as numerous other anti-Semitic murders. It grew around the disappearance of the death of a Christian boy named Trento. Why would the artist choose this topic and choose to propagate these hateful notions and then release it now? The Church must renounce this, and it renounced its own anti-Semitic roots back in 1965, and therefore it should renounce this painting, regardless of the history the painter has with the Church. There is freedom of expression. At least in the U.S., it's a legal protection. But that doesn't mean the community, global or local, cannot express its own disgust and rejection of the art. And that is exactly what the Catholic Church needs to do, because its silence is condoning. As we end Passover and reflect on the past weekend Christians celebrated Easter, I hope all are staying well and healthy and connecting with God and family in new ways. Our Easter Passover celebrations may not have had the social event filled with fellow congregants and extended family members like it usually does, but it doesn't mean we have to disconnect. Physical distancing is not the same as social distancing. We have in this modern age wonderful ways to connect: the telephone, video chat, email, more ways with your iPhone and your computer. Now, this can never substitute for the full intimacy of a brotherly and sisterly hugs and kisses from dear friends and extended family members, or the excitement of traveling to see loved ones after a long absence. But how much more will we relish these moments when we're able to move about again? Shavua Tov. Blessings. and have a great week.